BYD's Fuzhou Industrial Park is the fifth vehicle production base for BYD in China, total investment of 15 billion yuan, and now faces a surplus in production capacity, with thousands of cars parked outdoors, neatly arranged yet looking desolate, like a car graveyard. It feels like they won't be sold for another 10 years. With support from CCP policies, Chinese electric vehicle companies have blindly expanded production, leading to serious inventory backlogs. In order to grab market share, companies like BYD are now forced to clear out their stock. Recently, a zero-kilometer used car phenomenon has emerged in China's car industry. Completely new, undriven cars are being sold on the second-hand market. This is a result of overproduction and the pressure of price wars, with BYD caught in the middle. Industry insiders point out that BYD has been faking sales numbers by selling new cars as zero-kilometer used cars to inflate their reported sales figures. One commenter noted, "No wonder they hit 500,000 monthly sales so easily. This explains it." But the bubble will eventually burst. A used car dealer revealed that zero-kilometer used cars are generally processed in two ways. One is sold in the domestic market, and the other is exported overseas. The dealer explained that car companies wouldn't immediately deal with these cars. Instead, they'd park them in cheap lots for 1 or 2 years before selling them onto the next buyer. The popular rent-to-own model from a few years ago mostly involved these cars, which were also provided to rental companies and ride-hailing platforms. The dealer added that some car companies and investors personally get involved in exporting these zero-kilometer used cars overseas, taking advantage of export policies. This has even raised concerns in overseas markets, with fears of China dumping low-priced cars. As the export of China's zero-kilometer used cars increases, the chaos has begun spreading to Russia. My brother has been working in Baidu and Orgos for these 2 years, specializing in exporting used cars to Russia, making a lot of money.
Exporting used cars?
He doesn't sell cars, he just ships them to Russia. The Russia-Ukraine conflict, Russia has hardly imported any cars from Europe or the US lately. They're getting them from China.
Why only export used cars and not new ones?
New cars have high tariffs. A zero-kilometer used car is just like a new one.
But isn't Hogos far from Russia? How does he get them there?
They go through Kyrgyzstan. Their tariffs are lower, and it's legal and compliant. A Li Auto L9, worth 400,000 yuan in China, sells for 800,000 yuan in Russia, and a BYD worth 100,000 yuan sells for 180,000 yuan there.
How many people are working in this company?
Over 20. They get 600 yuan for each car they ship. Some people can ship 3 or 4 cars a day.
So how do they make money?
They make money from the transit service fees, earning 5,000 yuan per car. They also rent parking lots and charge parking fees. They even change the Chinese writing inside the cars to Russian, making more money that way.
A new age middleman.
Inventory of electric vehicles in China has exceeded 1 million units, surpassing the total sales in 2022. This has given rise to a new emerging group, the car middlemen, or car flippers. These individuals purchase zero-kilometer cars at low prices from 4S stores or car manufacturers, then export them to Central Asia, Russia, and other regions, making a profit of several thousand yuan per car. A popular saying describes these middlemen: "A poor man can wear a Rolex in just 1 month." A Russian automotive blogger recently slammed Chinese car brands for their poor after-sale service. He said on social media, "They have no intention or culture of maintaining their brand image. Their job is to sell us cars, not to provide service afterward." After the Russia-Ukraine war broke out, Western brands withdrew from the Russian market. Ordinary citizens had no choice but to buy Chinese cars. However, these customers who purchased zero-kilometer used cars from China found themselves without warranty or after-sale service. This short-sighted behavior has caused strong backlash from foreign buyers. Recently, Russian media criticized Chinese car manufacturers for using all possible methods to sell cars in order to boost their sales. Russian media also mentioned that Chinese automakers usually register new cars through affiliated dealers or third-party platforms. Once registered, these cars qualify for government subsidies, and then they're sold as used cars, even though they haven't been driven at all. In this way, the manufacturers report an increase in sales. Anton Shaparin, chairman of the Russian National Automobile Union, mentioned in an interview with autonews.ru that with the shrinking domestic market, Chinese automakers are being forced to export more aggressively. Thousands of zero-kilometer used cars have been shipped from China to Russia. Shaparin stated, "They try to use every available method, including selling through used car shows, which in reality are new cars. This way, they can bypass export restrictions placed on major brands." The report pointed out that buying these zero-kilometer used cars from China carries risks for Russian buyers. One risk is that the car may be locked at the software level. Chaperon believes that this threat exists because many Chinese cars come with internet connectivity. He also highlighted that given differences in configurations between Russian and foreign markets, maintaining such cars could be challenging, especially rare models with low official sales figures. This may lead to difficulties in after-sales service. Moreover, sales through unofficial channels also cause problems with vehicle registration and mandatory Russian car insurance. Automotive expert Alexei Tuzov stated, for example, customs payments can be made by reducing a car's value, which is often done by suppliers using gray import schemes. Car owners also face the risk of having their vehicle's electronic passport cancelled due to falsified data, making it impossible to complete the registration. To avoid purchasing a zero-kilometer used car from domestic dealerships, the report provides identification methods. The primary indicator is a significant discount. If the price is more than 30% lower than the suggested retail price, the car might be a so-called zero-kilometer used car. The report also suggests buyers verify the VIN number to check the registration date, inspect the service history, and confirm any insurance claims. Additionally, it's recommended to choose verified dealers, request a written guarantee, and ensure that the vehicle has no financial encumbrances. In reality, the practice of selling zero-kilometer used cars to Russia has been going on for some time. With the large-scale withdrawal of Western car brands leaving a market gap, Chinese brands have rapidly expanded into Russia. In 2023, China's car exports to Russia reached 950,000 units, increasing nearly fivefold compared to the previous year, making up 20% of China's total exports that year. According to Russian analysis firm Autostat, the market share of Chinese passenger cars in Russia's new car market surged to 51%. In the same year, Russia became the largest destination for China's car exports. In 2024, this trend continued, with car exports to Russia rising to 1.16 million units, a 27% increase, and market share expanded to 60%. In other words, out of every 10 new cars sold in Russia, about 6 are from Chinese brands. The value of Chinese car exports to Russia reached $15.2 billion, accounting for 13% of China's total exports. In 2024, Chinese brands occupied 8 of the top 10 spots in Russia's passenger car sales rankings. Among them, Chinese zero-kilometer used car exports grew by 45% in 2024, reaching around 400,000 units, setting a new historical record. In May this year, Great Wall Motors chairman Wei Jianjun publicly exposed the chaotic industry practice of zero-kilometer used cars. He bluntly stated that a zero-kilometer used car refers to a car that has been registered after being sold, but then is returned to the hands of the used car dealers without actually being delivered to the end customer. Wei Jianjun, who has led Great Wall Motors since 1990, is regarded as one of the most influential figures in the industry. He warned that this chaotic phenomenon has spread across multiple transaction platforms, involving thousands of dealers. Some debt-ridden car manufacturers are using this method to conceal operational risks. Jianjun fears that if the car industry collapses, the entire industry may experience a crash similar to the real estate collapse. His comments are widely seen as a direct reference to BYD, which is often compared to Chinese real estate giant Evergrande before its collapse. So what exactly is a zero-kilometer used car? Simply put, it is a new car sold as a used one. After the car is registered, it is never actually delivered to the final customer, but is instead sold as a used car. Behind this practice is the car manufacturer's attempt to boost sales figures and alleviate inventory pressure. They create a false impression of high sales. Currently, this phenomenon still exists. Some dealers overpurchase vehicles, and a large portion of the surplus vehicles are sold in bulk through the zero-kilometer used car channel at low prices. While it may seem like buying high, selling low should benefit car buyers, it's not as simple as it seems. Firstly, buyers lose exclusive rights reserved for the first owner, such as free charging. After purchasing the car, consumers face high repair costs and cannot enjoy the new car warranty because the vehicle has already been registered. Additionally, because the car has already been transferred and registered, its resale value is more than 30% lower than that of a regular used car. If the vehicle is indeed an inventory or damaged car, the battery health and mileage might have been tampered with, making it difficult to successfully protect consumer rights. Some cars were used as test drive vehicles, with their odometers reset to 0, or they may have transportation damage, aging parts, or other issues, but dealers intentionally hide this information. One car owner, after purchasing a zero-kilometer used car, experienced engine failure a few months later, only to discover the car had previously been a test drive model. They realized they had been misled. In short, the essence of the zero-kilometer used car practice is malicious competition that sacrifices product quality and consumer trust. So, why do these cars still exist? It is about beautifying sales figures and clearing inventory. To alleviate pressure, car manufacturers sell unsold or outdated cars in bulk to used car dealers. This inflates sales figures while avoiding the public perception damage caused by direct price reductions. For dealers, in order to meet quarterly or yearly sales targets, unsold vehicles are registered early and sold as sales-driving cars. Some dealers also take advantage of national trade-in subsidies by using scrapped cars to claim funds. By purchasing zero-kilometer used cars in bulk, dealers not only fulfill sales quotas and earn subsidies and rebates from manufacturers, but also receive national and local car consumption subsidies. For example, dealers may buy old cars at low prices, then exchange them for zero-kilometer used cars, securing subsidies ranging from 15 to 20,000 yuan for trade-ins or scrapping. These subsidies are meant to stimulate new car demand among consumers. However, after dealers manipulate the system, they pocket the subsidies, further distorting the industry. Overall, zero-kilometer used cars are a product of exploiting loopholes. On one hand, they take advantage of gaps in the car sales chain, allowing manufacturers and dealers to inflate sales figures and placing potential losses on consumers. On the other hand, they exploit gaps in financial reporting systems, disconnecting financial data from actual sales. Industry insiders have commented that the current Chinese car market presents a false prosperity. The overall profitability of the industry lags far behind international giants like Toyota, a scary fact that has been overlooked. In 2024, none of China's car manufacturers made the top 10 list of global net profits for car makers. Meanwhile, Toyota's net profit of 237 billion yuan in 2024 is nearly the sum of all Chinese car makers' net profit combined. After zero-kilometer used cars were exposed, this practice has become a hot topic. Some salespeople openly admit these cars are priced much lower than new cars.
今天带大家去看一下网上最近炒得很火的
Today, I'm going to show you the hot topic online, 0-kilometer used cars. Right now, Longgang in Shenzhen has the largest collection of 0-kilometer used cars, with over 200 cars in the entire lot. These cars are sold directly by the factory at low prices, with registration, taxes, and delivery included. They are the brand new cars but sold as used cars. The price is the same as a second-hand car, so you save quite a bit. For example, this Huawei Wrench M7, a new one, costs over 240,000 yuan, but with the options added, it's about 280,000 yuan. Now it's just over 190,000 yuan. It's brand new, the protective film is still on, and you save tens of thousands of yuan. Cars like the Lanyi can save around 40,000 yuan, while the RV4 can save over 30,000 yuan. There are also many domestic brands, and most of these cars have been in stock for just a few months to a year. They've only been registered once. Many big brands and models have these 0-kilometer used cars, like BYD's Hyper 05, now selling for just over 50,000 yuan. Normally it would be at least a few thousand yuan more. After discounts, you can still save a few thousand yuan, and various brands have these deals.
Recently, from price wars to verbal battles, the Chinese auto industry has been full of conflict. At the 2025 China Automotive Chongqing Forum, held in early June, major car companies harshly criticized the involuntary competition in the industry. BYD's general manager, Li Yunfei, lashed out. He said, "Some people are both bad and stupid." Geely Automotive's vice president, Yang Xueliang, fired back, saying, "The thief is calling out to catch the thief." On June 15th, automobile media published an article saying the current Chinese market is both magical and cruel. On one side, we have top players like BYD, Geely, and Great Wall battling out at the Chongqing Forum. On the other side, emerging brands like Nejia Motors are mired in bankruptcy, with plummeting sales and a broken financial chain. Behind this seemingly chaotic situation lies a core issue. In the context of overcapacity in electric vehicles and increasing product homogeneity, the industry's restructuring has already begun. The intense price wars and internal competition are essentially about clearing out inventory, fighting for sales, and seizing market share as the survival of the fittest. At the end of May this year, China's Ministry of Commerce urgently convened car companies and related industry organizations for a closed-door meeting. Representatives from companies like Dongfeng and BYD attended. The theme of the meeting was the industry issue pointed out by Wei Jianjun, 0-kilometer used cars. The Ministry of Commerce has asked companies like BYD to explain, and there may be tighter regulations in the future. Recently, a blogger who sells 0-kilometer used cars expressed concern that the scam would be exposed.
现在这卖车啊，真的是没法干了啊。
Selling cars has really become impossible. Just when 0-kilometer used cars were selling a bit better, the government immediately introduced a policy that cars receiving subsidized can't transfer ownership until 1 year later. We don't know if it's true, but for us it's a huge blow because no one will buy anymore. Who knows what changes will happen over that year? So doing business is getting harder and harder. We have over 100 of these red flag 0-kilometer used cars, all directly burned down, and BYD's, Harvard's 0-kilometer used cars, none of them are selling. So, we need to find a way to deal with these 0-kilometer used cars quickly before this policy issue hits us, or we are finished. So brothers, if you're looking for cheap 0-kilometer used cars, come see me. They will definitely be sold at a loss.
The phenomenon is a result of dealers washing inventory cars as used cars, while car manufacturers create fictional sales data through related transactions, turning the used car market into a performance-paddling reservoir. This financial fraud not only deceives consumers, but also severely misleads the market about the true health of companies. These chaos and distortions are a consequence of excessive market involvement and unhealthy competition. Even BYD is facing these issues, let alone other companies. Najah Motors recently declared bankruptcy. This includes massive losses, unpaid wages, large-scale layoffs, and dealers losing their rights. The high-end brand Hi-Fi has entered bankruptcy, while brands like Geely, iWays, and XPeng are facing supply chain breakdowns and are on the verge of closing. In 2025, the industry's restructuring will become even more brutal.